Have you ever wondered how those top producers get their low ends so tight? Like the kick hits, the bass moves, and it never sounds muddy, it just locks together. And the way to do it isn't just with EQ and sidechain compression. There's a little trick we use that pulls the whole bottom end together. And once you know it, you're never going to mix the same way again. Let me show you how. Hi, I'm Streaky. I've been a sound engineer for the past 30 years, working with some of the world's leading artists. And this one small workflow shift completely changed how I deal with low end when I'm mixing. Let me show you step by step. So the most common issue is your kick and bass are fighting each other, and that can be for various different reasons. So instead of working together as one low end, they end up fighting each other, and you lose the feel of having a really solid foundation to every track you mix. But before we get into it, I just want to tell you about a free mixing training that I have that's available at my website. There's a link in the description where I'll show you the right system to use for every time you mix. Totally free. Grab it in the description. Right, back into it. So what I want to do with the kick and the bass is I want them to act as one instrument. I don't want to think of them as two separate things. So the first step is I want to take them out of their individual buses. So I'm going to see, here's the bass, and let's see, and then the kick is here. So I'm going to put both of those into their own bus and call this the low end bus. So I've got the kick and the bass in their own summing stack in Logic, but it can be a bus on any other DAW. So let's just call this the low end bus. So now what I want to do is process them together. So the first thing to do with them is create some separation with some side chaining, so there's space for each of them to work together so they're not always in the same place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a soothe plugin onto the bass. So then I'm going to side chain it to the kick. So the kick is here in the side chain at the top. So now what's going to happen is every time the kick goes in, it's going to duck on the soothe, the frequencies. That way the kick's going to have the focus, the bass is out the way, the kick goes out the way, the bass becomes the focus. So they're just moving like this, forwards and backwards, instead of hitting each other as they're moving forwards and backwards, if you get what I'm saying. Here's how it works. So you can see that frequency's getting ducked when the kick comes in, and I love doing it on soothe because it's dynamic and it does just the frequencies you want, and you can tighten it up and play around with it. So it's a really nice way to do it. Next thing I want to do is check the phase alignment. So I can see that when I zoom in together, these are out of phase with each other. So on the bass, I'm just going to get a gain plugin before it, and I'm going to invert the phase. You won't see the change, but you'll hear the change. Let me just show you it before and after. So we've side-chained them off each other, and we've also checked the phase alignment, so now they're holding together a lot nicer, a lot neater, and they're getting a lot more punch. The next thing we want to do is blend them together with a compressor just to sort of glue them tight. Because we're side-chaining, there might be inconsistencies with the sound across the two as they're playing and ducking in and out. So what we want to do is just put a compressor on, glue them together so that we get a consistently strong sound across the drum and bass. So on the low end bus, I'm going to put a FabFilter Pro C2. I'm going to do a kind of fast attack because I want to get hold of it, but I also want to do a fast release so I can let go of it quickly because I want this to come in and out and give me a nice snap. I'm doing a 3:1 ratio, and then I'm just going to bring the threshold up to bring them in. So what I'm going to do is there is a filter in this, which is the internal sidechain filter. This is where I can tell the compressor what to detect at what point. So I'm going to set the frequencies to 34 Hertz at the bottom, and then I'm bringing the top one in, and I'm going to bring that into about 90. So what that means is this compressor is going to react to the kick, and it makes it sound much more punchy and together. Check this out. So now we've done all the processing, let's listen to the before and after and see how much of a difference it's made. So now I'm going to put it in the context of the track so we can hear how it sounds before and after. think we can all agree that's a muddy mess beforehand. So that's one way how you can get a really strong foundation to your mix. But if you want to learn a way of how you can process your tracks every time that you mix, then check out my free mix training, which is available from the link in the description, or go to streaky.com. And if you want to learn more about gluing your mixes, then check out this next video that I did last week. See you next time. Thanks for watching.